Okay, I want to welcome you to SEO or SOS. We have Rob Stutzman, our very own Score Boston mentor. He specializes in um, all things marketing, and that skill set is quite wide for him. So he's got a lot of information to share with you today. But as we get going, we want to definitely make you aware of the services that Score offers and who we are and what we do, so that you can take advantage of all of that. So our main goal is to share information with the small business community. And we do that in a couple different ways. One is through the information provided on our website. If you go to the score.org website, you're going to find templates that you can download, articles, blogs, videos, lots of great information. So if you just need to want to learn something quick, that's a great way to do that. We also offer training and information through our workshops and webinars. Most are online. We do occasionally have an in-person event. For the summer, though, most are definitely online. June has a couple of really fantastic presentations coming. So take a look at our newsletter, social media postings, and our website for the information on any of our upcoming events. So the most important thing that SCORE does, however, is the mentoring. And our mentors are volunteers, and they want to give back to the small business community. They come to us from a variety of backgrounds with a variety of skill sets. They have things that they can share with you so that you can learn from them. A first session is probably going to be about 40 minutes. They want to know what your goals and challenges are, and they're going to work with you to come up with a plan to be successful. Our mentors work together. So when you have your main mentor, he or she may invite in a co-mentor for future sessions, or find other information for you, or refer you to other mentors as you progress and things change and go forward. We work with folks at all stages in the game, those that are trying to decide if small business ownership is right for them, those that are in that planning phase, and those that are already in business. And we get requests for about any business topic that you can imagine. We can reach out to other chapters if need be to make sure you get the answers to the questions that you have. So getting a mentor, super, super easy. Score.org. There's a blue box. Put your zip code in, and that will match you to the chapter that's nearest you. There's a couple quick questions, and that information will be used to help match you to a mentor. So please definitely include information like how SCORE can help you, what kind of business you have, anything that you feel is important to the goals and questions that you have will help us match you to the proper person. So we are going to use Q&A for questions to our presenter. It's on your toolbar, your Zoom toolbar. Everything else can be in chat, and I think we'll have some chat interaction and some polls coming up. We are recording, and you will be able to access this recording within the next 24 to 48 hours. Well, business hours, so Monday, Tuesday. It'll be on the score.org/Boston website. And as you can see from that graphic, from the blue toolbar, local workshops to previously recorded webinars, it will be listed there. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this down, and I'm going to introduce you to Rob Stutzman. It's all yours, Rob.
All righty. Thank you, Teresa. Get my thing up here. Get my little screen working here. All right. Well, good day, everyone. Welcome to Friday. That means the weekend is almost here. So hang in there. We're going to go through some great information today that is hopefully going to be very helpful for you. If you're like me and you have a website, then you have probably received a number of messages from people who say, hey, I can improve your SEO, or I can make your results higher within a Google search. And it gets to a point where there are so many people coming at you talking about SEO, it can just be extremely confusing and just give you a real headache when you get down to it. So we're going to go over some basics today, and we're going to talk about defining SEO, the fundamentals behind SEO, what are the different elements of SEO. We're going to talk about a use case and then some next steps, some tips and tricks, and then take your questions along the way. As Teresa said, as you have questions as we're going along, feel free to put them in the Q&A and we'll answer those as we go along. A little bit about myself. I've been in business for over 40 years. 30 of those I was with Verizon. I led global teams in marketing initiatives. I had a fabulous career. I learned a ton of things from Verizon. And when I retired, I started my own private consulting firm. But the other thing I did is I volunteered for SCORE. Oddly enough, when I was in high school, I saw a SCORE commercial. We've been around that long, 60 years. I saw a SCORE commercial and I said, if I ever retire someday, I'm going to work. I'm going to volunteer with an organization like this, and it has been extremely rewarding. It's our opportunity to give back to you, and your success is our success. So we are so grateful to have these opportunities to educate. So that's a little bit about myself. Now I'd like to get to know my audience. So I've got a couple of questions here that Teresa's brought up on the screen. The first question is, what does your business sell? Are you selling hard goods? Are you selling soft goods? Are you selling services or something else? And then who manages your website? Are you managing all of the aspects yourself? Or do you use a website platform like GoDaddy or Wix or Shopify or WordPress? Or do you use a web developer? And then are you still even thinking of a website or just getting your information together as you prepare to roll out your website? So let's take a few minutes and go ahead and fill that out. And when Teresa feels like we got a good sampling, we'll take a look at what the results are. And while you're doing that, I will take a sip of my drink. Okay, let's see what we have here. What is your business? Okay, hard goods, great. And services is the number one. Not unusual. We see a real uptick in people today that are opening up services, whether that be health-based services or landscaping, beauty salons, those kind of things. We see a lot of services being opened up by people. Who manages your website? Good to see that the majority of you are using some kind of a web platform. It's great from an SEO perspective in that they provide tools within their platform that allow you to do things on the front end, and then they translate it to the technical code that Google likes to see on the back end. So that's a great it's good to see that. For those that are managing the aspects yourself, you're probably already technical, or you're certainly becoming more and more technical in the world of web development. And so you are actually probably seeing some of the coding that is occurring that impacts and affects SEO. So great. Okay, and we have a web developer and a web, great. Okay, so moving along. Search engine optimization, which is what SEO stands for. You might have heard of SEM. SEM stands for search engine marketing, but we're here today to talk about search engine optimization. And what it is, it's the action of making the best or most effective use of a situation or resource. That's the definition of optimization. So it's the practice of increasing the quantity and quality of traffic to your website for people that are doing organic searches. This is not about people that come to your website from Facebook. This is not about people coming to your website from a Google ad. This is about people putting in searches and coming to your website generically. Um, so it involves understanding what people are searching for online, the answers they're seeking, the words they're using, and the type of content they wish to consume. And we're going to talk about a use case that brings this together. And this is the real linchpin. This is the real silver bullet when it comes to SEO. So by understanding and implementing SEO strategies, you can improve your site's visibility on search engine results, otherwise known as a SERP, and attract a targeted audience. Search engines, like there's the three major search engines that are out there are Google, Bing, and Yahoo. They all use bots, and the bots crawl the pages on the web, and they go from site to site. They collect information about those pages, and they put them in an index. Now, this is, search engines today more and more are incorporating artificial intelligence, so they can provide higher quality results to people that are searching. So, but this is what's going on behind the scenes. These bots are going out, they're collecting the data, they're bringing the data into huge databases, and they're indexing the information. The algorithms that sit behind each of these search engines analyze the pages in the index. They consider hundreds of ranking factors or signals to determine the order that pages should appear in the search results for a given query. Algorithms are extremely important. You may have heard about algorithms in social media, such as Facebook and LinkedIn. They use algorithms to determine what information they will feed you on your Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn feed. Search engines use algorithms to determine which of all this information in my database, which should I present to you first, second, and third, et cetera. Keyword research. Keyword research is the process of finding and analyzing actual search terms that people enter into search engines. The insight you gain from these actual search terms can help inform the content strategy as well as your larger marketing strategy. Keyword research is where you are putting into your websites the verbiage that you think people are searching for. Um, so if you are in a services industry and maybe you're providing behavioral health, you might be putting in terms related to behavioral health inside your web so that if somebody is out searching for mental illness, they might come to your site. If they're out there searching for bipolar, they will come to your site. Your site will be ranked higher because they have put in a term, a keyword, if you will, that is resident within your site. So there's tools. Google has, through their Google Ads platform, has what they call a keyword planner. And by the way, you can use the keyword planner even though you're not going to ultimately do a Google ad. And you can see what kind of keywords will come up based on who you are and what your website is about. There's a couple other companies, SEMrush and Ahrefs, but they can assist in finding keywords that are relevant to your business and understanding their search volume and competition level. The reason that it's part of Google Ads is because depending on the keyword and the bidding process that Google goes through, it will determine what price you pay for that particular keyword in a Google ad. But you can use their planner even though you're not going to run an ad on Google. So why is SEO important? Well, it's big and it's getting bigger. You can see quite the jump. This is only through 2021. But it's already well over $250 billion industry. And so there are large companies that are offering SEO services to the large enterprise sites out there. And then there are small companies, small businesses that are offering SEO services to other small businesses. And those are probably the emails you're getting on a daily basis. There are over 8.5 billion searches per day worldwide. Google's the king of search. They have over 90% of market share. And so, things that people are doing in the area of SEO, they're doing it to improve the results and with the Google algorithm in mind as far as what they're doing. Organic clicks accounted for over 45% of all search results clicks. Now, an organic click means that I go into Google, I put in a search term, I see a link, I click that link, I go to a website. That's an organic click. If I see something on social media and I click it, that's going to be coming from social media. It's not going to be coming from the Google search engine. But if I'm in Google and I click on a Google ad and I click a link associated with that ad and come to your website, that's a paid click. That's where they're coming in based on the click associated with your ad. So, why is SEO so important? It's because the average internet user conducts 3 to 4 searches per day on search engines, and 26% of the searches ended in no clicks. And less than 1% of users get to the second page of search results. The first organic result in a search results page has an average click-through rate of 27%. Google's algorithm has over 200 factors associated with it. And in the past 5 years, Google has done approximately 36 major algorithm updates. Google, and the reason they're making all these different changes, the reason that they want to have good results is because their number one goal is happy users. So it's very important to understand and how you can leverage SEO to your greatest benefit, because it's 26, 27% might seem low, but think of the billions of searches that go on in a daily basis. So it's very important to have that incorporated within your website. 14% of all keywords are phrased as a question. And then building credibility is the main benefit of SEO. The more people come to your site based on a Google search, that continues to improve your SEO, because Google is saying, aha, I am seeing increased traffic to this particular site. Therefore, this must be a trusted site. So therefore, I can move them up higher in the ranking as a result. And then website owners, they say their biggest challenges are lack of resources and strategy issues. It really is to some degree a little bit of a black art, but with the right research, you can come up with a strategy that works for your particular website and your particular company. And then the most searched keywords on a global scale. Interesting that people that are coming into Google are looking for other applications. The other applications or sites to go to. But these are the biggies. These are the top 10. So what are the elements of SEO? First, there's an on-page SEO. An on-page SEO involves optimizing individual web pages in order to rank higher and earn more relevant traffic in search engines. It includes optimizing the content and the HTML, which stands for hypertext markup language, source code of a page, like title tags, meta descriptions, header tags, and images. If you are doing everything on your website today, these terms probably mean something to you, and you understand and probably writing HTML code. For those that are using website platforms, the great thing is they have tools within those platforms that take your request and turn it into HTML code and source code so that people can find your page. So that's a good reason to use website platforms because they provide that. It makes it easy for the user to update their website. Um, and then high quality, relevant content is key to a successful on-page SEO strategy. Then there's off-page SEO. Off-page SEO refers to the actions taken outside of your own website to impact your rankings within search engine results. So this is talking about backlinks. You may have heard the term backlinks. So what's involved with backlinks is that they are links from other websites to your site. So what happens is when Google sees traffic coming to your site from another trusted site, that signals to Google, aha, you must be a trusted site. And if you're a trusted site, therefore, I'm going to put you higher in my ranking because, again, my number one goal as a Google search provider is a happy customer. So I don't want to be providing, sites that are, either, not good information. So, or yeah, or scam. I don't want to get you feed you scam sites. So the links to act as votes for the credibility and the relevance of your content. Some other SEO tactics include social media marketing and influencer marketing. Finding out, what are the term, what's the terminology being used on social media and being used by influence marketers that are keywords that if I build them into my site, then when they're talking about those kind of things and people do a search, again, I'll come up higher in the search as a result. Technical SEO is the optimization of the technical aspects of a website in order to improve the ranking in search engines. It includes optimizing the web structure, the speed, and the mobile friendliness. I can't uh, overstate enough the importance of your site to be mobile friendly. And the best thing to do is to just pull up your site on your phone. And what is the experience? Are you having a good experience, or are you struggling on your website from your phone? So many people today are doing so many different things on their phone, and e-commerce being one of the top things people use their phones for. And so if they're coming to your site and your site isn't optimized to be mobile friendly, then people are going to struggle. If people struggle, they're going to go. And so you want to make sure you've got a good user experience in your mobile friendliness. Local SEO is a strategy that it incorporates Google Business Profile. If you don't have a Google Business Profile and you have a physical address, meaning you've got a brick and mortar store or you've got a brick and mortar office, uh, you know, make sure you create a Google Business Profile. Simply search Google Business Profile, and you'll get the information you need to set it up. Um, the reason is because one of the things Google does is when you're searching for, for instance, a gas station. If I'm searching for a gas station, Google will deliver back not just a list of gas stations, but they'll deliver back gas stations that are open now near me. And so if you have a Google Business Profile, you're going to show up as one of those results. And it's growing by leaps and bounds, over 400% year over year. So make sure you set up a Google Business Profile. Optimize your profile with keywords. Again, the importance of keywords. Focus on industry relevant keywords, and create relevant content for customers. And keyword modifiers, well, keyword modifiers are phrases. Think about what are some of the different phrases that people use. You could type in gas station, or you could type in gas station in Lexington, or Google will insert for me, gas stations open now near me. That's a keyword modifier. And check out your competitors. If you find that you've got some successful people in your particular industry, Go out, take a look at their website. Look at what they're describing themselves, how they're describing themselves, what kind of things are they put into their website that you don't have within your website that you might want to consider building in. Okay, here's the use case I wanted to talk about. This is back in 2015. There was a guy by the name of Brian Dean, and he increased his website traffic 652% in 7 days. The same approach that helped his brand new post hit the #1 spot in Google within weeks. How he did it was that he found relevant content, he improved on it, and he asked others to link to him. He in a sense became the tallest skyscraper in his industry. If you look at the step one there, find relevant content with lots of backlinks. So you set up your website, you've got your content set up. Maybe you've got partners out there that you approach, say, hey, yeah, can I link? Can you put on your page links to my site? I'll put on my page links to your site. They've set up backlinks. Then they improved on the content and created something better. And then they asked those linking to the original piece to link to your now superior content instead. This is the horse race. What does it take to win a horse race? You only have to win by a nose. You only have to be a little bit better than your competition, and you get the prize. You win the race. Taking a look at a little bit deeper into what he did, he really focused on user intent. So he really thought through, what are users looking for when it comes to what I have to offer? And he happened to be in the SEO space, but even in that, there's tremendous competition. So he thought about, what is it that people are looking for? He conducted a search on himself. He analyzed the first page that came up. He scanned the other search engine results, and then he tried to build, what kind of intent do these results satisfy? And then when he was done, he went back to his own website. He deleted some deadweight pages. He set up the Google Search Console, which is an application you can build or you can set up within your site. He included keyword within his URL. And you'll notice that backlinko.com was his particular site. So he took advantage of the term backlink to build that into his actual URL. And then he analyzed the first page of his page as a result when he put in that as well. So identifying user intent, satisfying user intent, that is the silver bullet. If you can get to that level, then you are going to shoot up the rankings within Google. And it's very important to take a look at your site from a content perspective. I know that particularly those within the service industry, they like to be rather verbose because that's what you do. That's your profession, and you want to make sure that you're communicating that to people. But just take a look at your content. Have others look at your content. Have SCORE look at your content. We'd be happy to review your website and just to see what user intent is your site satisfying right now. So discover long tail keywords with Google Suggest. There's another application from Google. Long tail being restaurants versus restaurants near me. You do the user intent plus SEO improvements to get higher rankings. For those that are technical, you can identify some crawl errors. For those that are using website platforms, hopefully that platform provider is doing that for you. Build powerful backlinks with guest posting. Sometimes you can post a blog on someone's site, write an article and they'll post it on their site. And when you post that, that link sends them to your site. Or maybe you have an event and you could have one of your partners put that event announcement on their site. And when they click on it, it comes to your site. So build those backlinks where you can and include the current year to convey that your content is up to date. How many times have we gone to a website? Maybe we've looked at their blog and we see that they haven't updated this blog in 2 years. So what impression does that make upon yourself? You think, well, they don't seem to be paying attention to their website. Do I know if they're going to pay attention to my needs if I'm going to use them? And improve your mobile site page speed. This again, for those that are doing it themselves, hopefully you understand how to do that. For those that are using website platforms, touch base with your platform provider if you find that you think the mobile experience is slow. It could be faster. If nothing else, just to hear their side of the story. And then optimize for user experience signals. As I was talking about before, you can see the page on the left there is it's too dense. And Google will quickly downrank you if they find that your information is too dense. Now, if you have a highly technical engineering type product, you might have to have something like this, a spec sheet or something on your website. But maybe there's a way that you can have them link to another site where you keep that repository of information so it doesn't impact the ranking, the search ranking of your homepage and your home website. So there's ways around it. Some tips and best practices. Use the keyword research tool to find new keywords. Use the Google Ads keyword planner. Try keywords out in a search. Research the competitors that come up and try to figure out user intent as best you can, and use the current year to appear up to date. Use Google Analytics. That's how you can gauge your effectiveness. Remember to work with your website provider, call them up, talk about SEO. What do they know about SEO? What are they doing about SEO? Talk to them about user intent. Do they know what user intent is? And how do they, what advice would they give you for understanding the user intent of your site? And just remember, Google's #1 goal is happy users. So, feel free to experiment. These things are outside of paying for web page modifications. Again, those, a lot of people are, doing it themselves, either through a platform or completely by themselves. It doesn't cost anything, and do some A/B tests. Try this month, I'll try this particular keyword. Maybe next month I'll try that. See where you're getting, see how you're ranking. Am I moving up the ranks? And then what I forgot to put on this list is to build your backlinks. Continue to figure out ways you can get referenced from other websites out there. That is all of my prepared remarks, but we are more than happy to take your questions. So, Teresa, back to you.
Yeah. Are there books that you can recommend about SEO that you like?
There's some electronic books that are out there. If you go to the SEMrush site, they've got some literature out there. If you go to backlinko.com, there's some really great information there as well. But I would say you really just Google SEO strategies. and take a look at what people are talking about out there.
Should you change date on current page and posts? It must be in refer to something else you said.
Change the date, did you say?
Yeah, change dates
Yeah,
on,
yeah. I mean, if you have things that are, well, I mean, for instance, a blog. Maybe you put a blog up every month or every week. That's going to probably get a date stamp from the provider when you put it out there. You know, just if you keep that up to date, if you keep to your consistent cadence, then you're going to always have fresh information that you're delivering to the customer. If you can't do that, then certainly you could go in and most will probably let you go in and change the date of that particular blog. It's more important is if you're talking about something within your web page and it says I think of something off the top of my head. It's like in 2022 we're new products for 2022. That right there is going to people go, huh? So you want to make sure those kind of phrases have the current date associated with it.
okay. Yeah, she added more. Should you change date in WordPress on older posts and
Uh,
pages?
if I mean if it allows you to do that, no harm, no foul. It's the same content, but with a fresher date, a newer date. You know, it's fine. As long as people are seeing the content that they're reading, as long as they have confidence that this is current content, that's what separates you from others.
Okay, how do you include keywords in the URL?
Well, you might have to change your URL. So that could be a whole rebranding discussion associated with it. So if you don't want to change your web address to put in a keyword, if you put it in your title, that is first priority, and then any subtitles as second priority, and then put it in the body, the content of your page as third priority. So if you can work it into the title of a page, that's great because then that will get picked up, most likely will get picked up and inserted in the web address when you put in a web address, it has a slash and then has some kind of information after the slash. It'll put the keyword into that information after the slash, and you will get picked up on a search engine because they will see that as attached to your URL.
Any particular formatting to use for the SEO field of the website?
Well, when you say formatting, formatting could be font, formatting could be color, formatting could be where it is in the page. Most pages have a title, they have a subtitle, and they have content. Then they have graphics, and don't forget Google. You can search Google on images. So think about your images out there as well. That if you put a different image up, maybe people will find your site over the others. But if you think about it, if I focus on my title page, my headers, my body, working my keywords that way, then you're improving your SEO as a result.
I have an expansion on that. Formatting for the SEO field in particular, not website as a whole. Formatting being paragraphs, forms, keywords separated by commas, etc.
Yeah, that perhaps you're with a website platform out there, and each platform has its own way of helping their users with their SEO. I would say get with your website provider, your platform, have a discussion about SEO. Ask them how you can optimize within their with the way that they've structured their your site on their platform. Hope that helped.
Do posts on LinkedIn that include the website help?
Posts on LinkedIn
If
that
you, yeah, if you put a post into LinkedIn, but you put the website address, does that help with your SEO?
it can it's going to show up as a referral link. Google's kind of looking at stuff that you used Google for, but again, they're scraping the data and they're looking at the traffic that's coming into your site. So if I would say by all means, just from a social media perspective, uh, anything you put out there as a post, that you create, not a response to a post, but a post that you create, anytime you put something out there on social media, minimally it should have your web address on there. So that the goal of social media is to create community. It's to create engagement, and so you want to get people engaged with you, getting to know you. Now, the social media platforms don't like it when people leave the platform to go to your website because they want you to stay within their platform. But hey, you got to do business. You want to talk to people one on one, so you want to get them from LinkedIn to your website as fast as you can. So make sure you put your websites in any post that you create and put out there.
You mentioned removing the dead weight from the website. Can you expand on what that process looks like?
Yeah, again, if you're with a website platform out there, you can talk with them, and they can give you their opinion about how to do it. You can use Google Analytics. Google Analytics will give you where's your most popular pages, and you can take a look at some of the pages that just either have zero, nobody's reading them, or they have very little traffic associated with them. The thing about Google is they look at believe it or not, they look at the amount of volume you have on your site. And if they see that it's, a lot of volume, sometimes they can be a little hesitant they may not rank you as high. They like things that are kind of sleek and lean and provide information to their users out there. So again, their number one goal is happy users. If they're referring people to your site and it's not a good user experience, then it'll affect your ranking within Google. But use Google Analytics, take a look and see what are my most popular pages. That'll help you with user intent. That'll help you with what people are, they keep hitting this page. What are they looking for here? And it'll tell you the dead weight, things you might want to take out of your website.
Okay. What if you don't have a physical address for your Google business profile? My business is services, but would prefer to not have my home address shown. Will my Google business not appear in searches if I don't have an address listed?
No, well, you'll still appear in searches, but the Google Business Profile, when you look at a Google page, at the top are the Google ads. They get first priority. Google Maps gets second priority. So if you have a physical address, and using the gas station scenario, gas stations near me, it'll show up in their map. They'll have a map, and then they'll have here's 3, 4, 5 gas stations in the area. But then they have other searches, and you would show up in those other searches. When it comes to the reason Google Business Profile requires a physical address is because they are delivering a map and they're delivering directions to where you are. So you got a couple of choices. One is that you could list your home address if that's where you're working primarily out of. That would be your business location, and Google would have no problem. Some people don't particularly like that from a privacy or security perspective. Certainly understandable. Your other option is to sometimes people will uh, be at a mailboxes, etc., or they'll be at a co-working site where they work at an off. You can talk to the owners there, or you can use, if you're at mailboxes, etc., or UPS store. You have a mailbox number, but sometimes you can put, here's my company name, suite number, and then the number is your mailbox number, suite number 223. And if Google, when they do the research, when you put in for your application, they're going to look and see, is this a legitimate, physical address? They're going, okay, physical address, see the building, okay, good to go, and then you're off and running. Outside of that, it gets a little harder. And the same thing holds true for if you're in one of those cooperative work environments, because they have a street address, and so when you think about if you send, and people still do, believe it or not, postal mail. If you send postal mail out there, what return address are you putting on that postal mail? You're probably putting either your home or whatever address is associated with your uh, shared space, or with the UPS store. So the same principle holds true. All Google wants to know is that they don't want to have phantom sites out there, because that, again, if you don't have a physical address, they think you must be a scammer. So I'm going to put you way down in the searches as a result of that. So couple of tips and tricks that way.
Yeah, I actually have a reply from one of our attendees that says Google My Business allows one to fill in as an online business and give service area where you serve. So,
There you go.
yep.
That's the reason I attend these webinars.
Okay. If the keyword is relative to your competitor, is it a good strategy?
If your keyword is relative to your competitor, is it a good strategy? Yes, because I would say, if your competitor is being more successful than you, if you sense that they're being more successful than you, uh, you know, take whatever keyword they might be using, improve upon it, and then incorporate that within your website. And now you're doing the skyscraper technique. You're taking a look at the competition, you're taking what they have, you make it a little bit better, put it out there, and then suddenly you're ranking above them. What does it take to win a horse race? You only have to win by a nose.
If I hire a digital marketer for website SEO optimization, is that a one-time deal, an ongoing relationship, or something in between? Just not sure how long of a relationship with a marketer do I need to commit to achieve my goal?
Well, the answer is yes, yes, and yes. There are people out there that will, if you go to some of these freelance sites, like you go to Fiverr or Upworks or places like that, you can find a freelancer out there who will do a one-time, I'll come in, do an SEO improvement for you, and um, you know, charge you for a one-time fee. There are people out there that will do it. If you say, I'm going to run a campaign, I want you to tell me, I want you to improve on my SEO, because I want this campaign to be successful. The campaign's going to run for 6 months. That's all I want you to do. So you set up a contract, have them do it for 6 months. What the SEO providers and digital marketers want, of course, is they want you, as a client, they want you to retain their services. And the services, generally some of these guys are, generally around $300 a month. That's pretty expensive to take advantage of their SEO services. But their goal is to have you as a long-term customer. But you don't have to. If you have a campaign, I'm going to do it for a period of time. I'm going to check the results, and I'm going to determine whether I do it again or and whatnot. Or you can, educate yourself. Again, with these platforms, they'll do the coding on the back end. You don't have to worry about that. You just have to worry about what are the keywords that I need to put into my site.
Do I really need to redesign the entire website to improve my SEO if currently it doesn't on the first page?
Wow, that would be quite the overhaul. No, no, you don't. As I mentioned, at the top of the list, if you can get it, get a keyword built into your URL, that's going to be the most effective. Aside from that, you've got a title, you've got a header, and you've got content. If you can work it into your title, which doesn't require an overhaul of the website by any means. If you can work a keyword into the title and then work some keywords into the header and into the body, you're going to improve on your SEO as a result. Provided, caveat, provided you're meeting the user intent of people that are out there searching.
Does a 5-star Google review improve one's ranking?
Yes, yes, it does. That's why, people go crazy when somebody leaves a 1-star review. It affects the ranking of not only within what they deliver out, as it's 4.9 out of 5 stars or whatnot, but it's the verbiage they put in there as well associated with the 1 star. So yes, the higher you're ranked in Google review will help your results.
How important are hashtags?
Hashtags, they were very popular at one point. They're kind of a little bit on the wane. What a hashtag does is with a hash, if I type a hashtag in to a search, it's going to deliver back information associated with that hashtag. If I'm in social media and I put in a hashtag, it's going to show me all the posts that are associated with that hashtag. So it's a little bit more prevalent in social media than it is on websites for people to find it to find you on a search engine. But if you put in a hashtag, you will get results.
Are photos more important than icons?
Well, I'll tell you what's more important than both. What's more important than both is a video. People love videos today. We live in the world of TikTok and shorts on YouTube and Reels and Facebook. And so if you can incorporate videos into your website, that people will click on that uh, more so than they might click on an image. But it depends on what you're trying to convey within that particular page where you have that graphic. Sometimes in it, you can photograph. Personal preference. I usually like photographs over graphics. Animation or yeah. I prefer photographs over that, but I prefer videos over photographs.
Okay, looks like I got a couple questions in chat. Let me grab those and that'll probably wrap things up for the day. Can you recommend the best AI tool for a small business webmaster?
Yeah, I'll recommend 3 off the top of my head. You've got ChatGPT, which is at chat.openai.com. You've got Bing Copilot, which is built on ChatGPT, and you've got Google Gemini, which is Google's version of AI. Uh, all 3 are free, and all 3 have premium services associated with it as well. But so it depends on what you want to use it. But for doing keyword searches, you can also take a page from your website, put it into the tool, and ask it, give me your opinion from an SEO perspective of this particular page. I'm trying, to put in what you're trying to accomplish and say, give me your opinion of this page from an SEO perspective. And it will give you its opinion.
Okay, here's a real big test, Rob. If my website is in another language other than English, what strategies can I use to enhance its SEO?
Well, interesting. So you can do a couple of things. You can have your website also in English. So you could have, you may have gone to a website before where in the upper right-hand corner it says English or Spanish, for instance. And you can, have, it's all within the same website. So if they're typing in Spanish or they're typing in English, they're going to find you out there. So that's one way you can do it. Um, Another way you can do it, this may not necessarily help, but a lot of people will put in a switch on their website to change from a foreign language to English. And it does it on the fly as well. But I would recommend having content in English, having content in a foreign language, and then giving the user the choice of which website that they want to look at.
To give you perspective, this is for a real estate business that's been in business for 40 years. And they've got lots of photos of houses. Can you have too many photos? Could that affect your ranking?
Well, it depends on, I mean, if you have a lot of photos on your homepage, for instance, that could affect your rankings. But you could put a link on your homepage to say, look at our inventory. Here's our inventory, or here's what's for sale currently, and then have them click to a separate page. Then on that page, you could have different different content on that particular page. You want to have your home. You don't want to have your homepage be dense because people may come in and into it and see like, oh, this is too much information, and they go away. You want to come in and say, hey, thanks for coming. I'm so glad you made it to our website. How can I help you, or here's some things you might be looking for, and here's where you can find them. That kind of, making it easy for the user. And the best way to is just to ask some of your friends, say, take a look at my webpage, and give me your honest opinion. If you were buying a house, and take a look at some of the competitors' pages and say, what is it that they're doing, and which would you be drawn to as a result?
All right, this will be the last question. If you are adding the keywords to your website, how long would you expect for it to see changes in your rankings happen?
Well, if you're if you're tracking your rankings on a daily basis, I mean, any change you make is going to have an immediate effect. It's not going to send you to number one on the list, but it's going to have some kind of an effect on your ranking. What you, of course, want to do is you want to end up, number one. But if you can't be number one, I want to be on that first page that people come to, because only 1% even read the second page. Track where you are today, and am I number 200? Am I number 2000? And start to make some changes and see if that affects your ranking. If you figure out user intent and build that into your site, you're going to see some really great. I mean, the same thing that happened with the skyscraper technique, 652% increase. That's astounding.
Okay. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up for the day. I know that we've had a couple more questions submitted. It's kind of a non-ending process, but certainly reach out, get a score mentor. They can go through, in detail with you, specific to your situation. And I think that could be very helpful for your business. So I want to thank Rob for giving of your time to give this presentation and take questions. And thank you all of you for joining us today, and have a great weekend.